Coming into 2021, people sure had super high expectations from literally everything in existence given how the last year made them suffer a lot. Giving us one of the most stacked seasons we've had in a couple of years now, 2021 started it right with the winter lineup features both new and returning bangers that made sure that screen didn't give us any room to breathe. Now as we approach towards the end of this new year, let's recall some of the best shows we've gotten throughout the year. In case you've missed out on any of these, then get ready for each and every one of these to be a must-watch for sure. Odd Taxi.
運転手さん、最近なんか面白いことありました？面白いこと。
Unique, out-of-the-box ideas are like a breath of fresh air that prevents life itself from getting redundant or repetitive. Odd Taxi sure upheld that in its truest sense with an anime that's so out of the ordinary that it can't help but stand out. Don't get me wrong, the show is super good with all these animals bringing their own little personas to the table that we can't help but look back to now. But the thing I love the most about Odd Taxi was how it managed to make every other episode better than the previous one with a plot that's so enjoyable that it won't be wrong to say that it's a journey we want to experience yet again very soon from now on. Dr. Stone, Stone Wars.
Hi, I'm Lillian Weinberg.
With 2019 came the likes of Vinland Saga, Demon Slayer, and Dr. Stone, titles that were ready to dethrone the Shonen Kings that had risen to fame not that long ago. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that none of them disappointed in the slightest, even their follow-ups packing more than just a punch throughout the entirety of their runtime. In this sequel to The Prodigy, prehistoric scientists that we can't help but envy to our guts follow Senku as he takes on Tsukasa and his army to uncover the truth and get a step closer to turning things back to the way they used to be. This went overboard with the science experiments to be honest, and that's what added to the charm of the show in my opinion. A lot of new faces to hit the screen, brace yourself for it's going to be a bumpy ride. Kobayashi-San Chi no Maid Dragon S.
いや、適材適所ってあると思うよ。母さんのドラゴンくらい適所です。もう一度入り直してください。
The Dragon comedy from 2018 was back this year with its long-awaited sequel that everyone had lost total hope in. Nostalgia hit each and every one of us right in the feels when we saw Kobayashi in the middle of it all with the dragons stealing the spotlight from each other as the episodes went by. In case you thought that the previous dragons were all a show like this needed, then you're in for a surprise since we have a bunch of new characters that would make your stay all the more enjoyable, all the more worthwhile. Comedy is even better than before with Kana's cuteness making your heart melt over and over again. The only downside to the sequel is how it's short, and we'll have to be on the lookout for any news popping up anytime. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time. Thank heaven. I thought I wouldn't be able to experience this masterpiece during my lifetime. As much as I love Evangelion, the wait was a real pain in the neck for they sure teased us a lot with this one. Following where the previous movie left off, all our questions would be answered in this new installment where the unexpected and the unforeseen keeps everyone at the edge of their seats. Plus with Evangelion, one of, if not the most confusing universes of all times, better get the whole binging process once again cause if you don't recall the story up until this, then you won't be able to experience how much of a wonderful piece of art this movie is. Plus we also have Utada Hikaru this time. How cool is that? One last kiss. Fruits Basket, the final.
汚れが気になんなら新しいの買え。待ておい、まだ乾いてねえ。だから。
ありがとうございます。
Being a Fruits Basket fan ever since I was a kid, the announcement of the remake version sure had me all excited since the nostalgia was about to choke the whole place up. The studio was doing such a perfect job ever since the anime made its debut, but it wasn't until this year that they finally picked up the pace, giving the cult classic the treatment it truly deserved. This final piece of the puzzle brings the whole Fruits Basket universe to such a beautiful and enthralling end that you turn a blind eye to all the things the remake did wrong in some way. I mean, it isn't every other day that the new kid rises up the ranks and ends up beating the big dogs we have in anime, right MAL? Don't be sleeping out on this one since the end was just so beautiful that it was hard to keep oneself in one piece. Komi can't communicate.
すごい美人だ。さすが進学校。
One of the titles that we've waited for basically an eternity now, Komi Can't Communicate was one of the 2 titles on this list that desperately needed an anime. The fall season delivered it, and even with the show only a few episodes in, it's already looking like it might be giving the comedy kids a run for their money real quick. Witness the troubles faced by the girl as the anime throws every other situation at her, stuff that we can relate to a lot more than just a couple of times. One of the strongest points about this series in particular is the whole setting that fits the theme so well that it's cemented as a title that would stand out no matter what. What a way to end the year with this banger of an adaptation that's sure to live even when reaching its conclusion before we head into the next year to welcome the new kids in town. That time I got reincarnated as a slime season 2. One of the titles that welcomed us into the new year, the slimy, bouncy blob from Dragon Quest was here to save the world with this quirk that's literally too OP when you give it a good thought. Rimuru Tempest sure kept us waiting all these years since witnessing his adventures a couple of years ago, and seeing the good old RPG theme given such a different meaning in such a similar yet totally unique way made a lot of isekai fans change their religion in a heartbeat. With this season, see for yourself what the universe has to offer, since with all those previous mysteries lined up for the anime to explain, shooting 1 or 2 right in our faces wouldn't be the best idea now, would it? Well, you know how it goes, no? 86. Having Komi Can't Communicate as his comrade in arms, 86 was a light novel adaptation that should have hit the screens a long time ago. I mean, a look at the Reapers, all it takes for someone to experience what the perfect synergy looks like, that's after a tad bit of patience. Live the dream as the anime makes all your mecha dreams come true in an anime where politics, conflicts, and facade rules over anything that moves. With the second season on the go right now, and the first finished not that long ago, catch up with this series as fast as you can since it's bound to get bigger and bigger down the road. Readers, you know what I mean, right? No spoilers in the comments though, that'd just be blasphemy. Tokyo Revengers. Getting the Demon Slayer treatment ever since its debut, Tokyo Revengers was a title that popped off super hard the moment the first episode came out. The internet was just loaded with Takemichi and Mikey with Draken here and there as well. What started off as a failed romance trying to mimic Steins Gate ended up being such a rich and well thought story down the road, hitting us right in the feels at times to making us laugh our guts out at others. The way that the show manages to turn it all around and give the fans the most unexpected surprises in existence is something that made the show stand out compared to the other shows that made their debut at the same time. I mean, you can't say you aren't looking forward to the sequel after the last episode. It's just not possible. To Your Eternity. You know how we get these shows every once in a while that manage to absorb us all inside them the moment that protagonist starts talking. To Your Eternity is for sure one of them, with the first episode that made waiting for the next literally the hardest thing in the entire universe. Seeing Fushi overcome the odds and find himself amidst a situation that he never even dreamt of, getting emotional doesn't quite cut when it comes to the experience that the anime provides the viewer with. Throughout the series, it's so mesmerizing, so beautiful, that you can't help but feel that connection to the boy who'd been budding pears the very next second. Always putting others before him, trying to find that long-lost solace that would fill that void created in his heart. This journey is for sure the best we've had the entire year.